Hey there, and welcome to the Business of Business podcast. Here we are two daughters and their dad, seeking to inspire and educate you to follow your dreams of being in business by teaching you the business of being in business. The good, the bad, the humor are all parts of our unique perspective as an entrepreneurial family. Thanks for joining us. So grab a coffee, turn up the volume. Here we go.
Well, hi, everybody. Welcome back to the Business of Business podcast. It is two daughters and their dad, and I am your host, Staci J. Dempsey. And as always, per usual, I have the dad, Jack the man, not Jack the fish. Say good morning, Jack.
Hey, good morning, everybody.
And we have the other daughter, Jennifer Dempsey. Welcome, Jennifer. How you doing?
Wonderful. Hey, everybody.
And we are very excited today. We have a guest with us today. We do want to make note that it's Jack's first welcomed guest to our podcast, Daphne Bradley, with us today of Designs by Daphne. So welcome, Daphne. Thank you for being here with us today.
Oh my goodness, thanks for having me. And what an honor it is to be Jack's first guest. I'm thrilled. Thank you.
Yes, and we're very excited to have you. And personally, I'm always excited to have a female entrepreneur on our podcast. Just a woman out here. Jen's shaking her head. We're doing a Zoom. We're doing our podcast via Zoom to be respectful of all things COVID-19 still happening in the world. So I can see that Jennifer is shaking her head in agreement with me that it's always very exciting to have a female entrepreneur on our podcast to just share her story, share the ups and the downs, and really give advice. Because I know not that Jack can't take some good points away, but they usually typically very resonate with Jennifer and I. So welcome to our podcast. And we'd like to just start off, why don't you just tell us a little bit about your business?
So Design by Daphne is a full interior design service. We really specialize in redesign. Our slogan is rethinking how you use what you already have. Right now, our biggest staple is doing kitchen cabinetry and furniture. And with that, we're painting it. We use a product called chalk paint. We use both Annie Sloan and Jolie paints because they are, say, the Cadillac of the chalk paint industry. I know how they wear. We've been using them for over 8 years in kitchens. So I know a lot of the ins and outs and how they're going to hold up and whatnot. But with that, we also can help you with new countertops, new lighting, hardware, soft close hinges. If you have any damage to your cabinetry, we can get you new drawer boxes, new doors. Really, we're trying to be like a one-stop design service for our client. And really, I'm the contractor, hands-on. Makes it nice for the client. They don't have to keep shopping around to a ton of different people. However, if they want to do that, they can certainly bring in their own contractor and do a lot of the little things themselves. We work on however our client wants us to work with them.
Well, yeah, I was taking a look at your website and the pictures of the before and afters that you've completed. You would, if you didn't know, you would think that it's brand new furniture. You would not see that it is items or furniture or kitchen that was already there. You would think that it was completely brand new, and everything is beautiful. All the pictures that you have.
Thank you.
Just that you have on your website. Yes. So what kind of started you into this business? What prompted you to start the business?
Well, it can go back to childhood. Being a little girl growing up with a dad who built both of the homes I lived in. He wasn't shy of giving us a hammer and a pocket full of nails, snapping a chalk line and saying, okay, put a nail in every foot. And we would do that and play around, and he'd come back a couple hours later and we'd have some of the nail heads banged over and into the wood, and he'd be like, oh, no, this isn't going to work. So he'd make us pry them out and try again. And then as we got better, he would, praise us and then move us on to something else. As I got older, he'd give me a bucket of paint because I would say, Dad, I'm really tired of my bedroom furniture. Can I do something different with it? And I would paint that out, always rearranging my bedroom, just that creative artist in me. So what got me into it? I guess that really. And then as I got older, got out of high school, Dad looked at me and said, okay, what are you going to do? Are you going to college or not? It had been several months out of high school, didn't have a direction. Finally, with that little push, I went to Antonelli Institute and got my degree in interior design. After that, didn't really do anything with it because there was no market for it. I graduated in 91, so if you know the history of the early 90s, there wasn't a market for it. Got married, started my family. So I was a homemaker for many, many years and always kind of dabbled in the arts and crafts industry, selling little things that I made, but never really had a job until my son was older. Moved back to Pennsylvania after my husband was in the military and got a job with a furniture store, ran their business for them. I love doing it. It's just, I love helping the client. They come in, they're like, oh, we don't know what to do with our room. And listening to them, I hear key words and it spawns me to, oh, I know exactly what you're looking for. And I would show them colors and fabrics and items. And they're like, how'd you know? And it's just those key words that, really tune me into them. And knowing what's on the market too. Always staying current. I'm addicted to the magazines and okay, yes, we're all addicted to HGTV, right? If you say you aren't, then I'm going to say, really? But I honestly have not watched HGTV for probably 2 years now. My TV doesn't go on in the house. I just don't have time. I am my own HGTV. Sounds silly, but we do it all. So what really made the business happen, to get back to your first question, was a divorce. I had to learn to, am I going to go get a job out there in the big corporate world, or am I going to make my business, work for me? I started it in 2008, and I was still married at the time. I was just kind of dabbling with it, still raising my son. My daughter came along, and trying to raise that family and have a business was really hard. I'm sure you know that, Staci. It's so hard to raise a family and run a business, but I was able to do it around their school's schedule too, because owning your own business, you have that flexibility of making your own hours, and I loved that. So after the divorce, I put 135% into my business. I was going to make it work for me. I had to go out. I had to sell my house. I had to rent a new house and figure everything out on my own, keep my daughter in school, and what am I going to do? And oh my gosh, it was overwhelming, but I had to do it. And I love what I do. And I can't, say that enough. I love having that paintbrush in my hand. I love the look on my client's face when I'm finished with a job and they're like, oh, I had no idea. And they're like, it's so beautiful. Or, what were we waiting for? So that's my drive. And I just keep putting everything into it. And it's growing and it's continuing to do great. Hopefully I answered your original question.
Wow, yes. I don't think you could have answered it any better. I'm like speechless and I'm like jazzed up, man. That was an amazing story, honestly. Yeah, that was really, really great. A lot of touch points there where people, and like you said, for me, can resonate, just, having to give 135% and trying to raise a family and everything from start to down to dad looking at you after high school like, so what you gonna do? Because you gotta make some money, and it's not gonna be dad's money. So what are we gonna do?
Exactly. Our parents teach us to be independent, and they want us to see, get out of the house and do well. And I was just kind of that little country girl, and I didn't want to go into the city. I did go to the Moore College of Art for a semester, and I just felt like it was so big. And I'm like, I can't do this. I was overwhelmed. And then when I found the Antonelli Institute, and it was small and quaint, I graduated with 13 other interior design students. I got a lot of hands-on, it was perfect for me.
Daphne, let me ask you a question. For our listeners that are thinking about opening their own business or starting some kind of business, when you were at that crossroad in your life where, okay, I could go get a 9-to-5 job that holds security, that same paycheck, compared to let me start a business and have uncertainty on income and the consistency of income. How did that feel? And how did you ultimately make your decision to go into business, especially having children, not having a consistent paycheck? What was your mindset around that time frame?
I was scared to death. Honestly, going through, I had already started the business in 2008. I was still married and just toying with it. I'm not doing a whole lot. But come the divorce in 2011, I really had to decide, am I going to let the business go or am I going to make it work? I wasn't going to let it go. No way. That has my name on it. It's my passion. It wasn't my ex-husband's passion. And I was determined. So determination, and next step, what am I going to do? How am I going to make it grow? I was working with CertaPro painters. They were part of my little network at the time. I didn't know what networking was. And I met John Facile with CertaPro painters he's here in Pennsylvania. And he goes, hey, you're part of the Chamber of Commerce. Now, mind you, I signed up for the Chamber of Commerce with early on in the business, not knowing what the heck it was, just knowing I needed to do it. Someone said, oh, you need to do it. And I did. And finally, when I met John, he's like, well, there's this little group that's part of the chamber called GROW. And GROW is for growing smaller businesses. There's one person from each industry in it. So say we have a real estate agent, we have a lawyer, we have a painter, we have a Kona ice gal and a marketing rep. So one person from each, and we get to know each other like family. I was part of them. I've been with them for 4 years. And I have to say, without them in my little networking group encouraging me and helping me grow, I don't think I ever really would have done it. So that was like my business family. I don't know what corporate world is like. I never had to go and put on that suit and then go for an interview and make big bucks. And that wasn't me. But getting to know them, I had approached them, I guess it's been almost 3 years, about the van, because I knew I needed a bigger vehicle. I'm like, guys, I need a van. I don't want the typical stigma white van. And I said, what do you think about me doing the mystery machine? Oh my gosh. Mind you, a lot of them laughed and like, yeah, go ahead. Let's see you do it. Well, 3 months later, I had the mystery machine. A little plug, Denron Wrap Company out in Downingtown did it for me. It has been the best marketing I could have done for my business. Things that, just skyrocketed from there. I'd always had a presence on Facebook and Instagram, but that gave me even more so because now people around town are taking pictures of it. They're like, oh, look at this. We saw the mystery machine. Who is this lady? I like playing on my name. I didn't used to when I was little, but now I embrace it.
Well, that's awesome. I know that was the first thing when I sent the ladies to your website. That was the first thing Janet said, oh, the mystery machine, it was like caught her eye. So of course, we go back to the Scooby-Doo days, that's for sure. First of all, let me just say that Daphne also has done work for me and for my wife. And so if I ever would say to rename your business, which I'm not saying to do that because obviously the name's perfect, but if you ever decide to do it, it would be Transformations by Daphne, because there is no doubt. I sent the pictures of what the work you did in our house over to the ladies. Now Janet never sold them before, but Staci and Jennifer have, and just
go on the website, you can see the before.
Oh, there you go. That's right, we made the website. So but And the other thing I'll say with Daphne is when she says she's hands-on, she's hands-on. Because when we had our table done, they took it, they brought it back, and then Lisa noticed that one of the legs was a little loose. So she calls Daphne, and Daphne came right back within a day or two. And here she's coming in with this big air gun, like underneath the table, like shooting stuff and I tell you, whatever she did, there ain't nothing moving that leg now. I mean, it's there forever. But so she is definitely hands-on. But so again, I'm a big promoter of her business, no doubt about it, because she just did a great job. So one of the questions I would have, Daphne, is besides the van, which is again very prominent and just a brilliant idea. What are other ways that you're able to kind of drive business and people to your business?
A lot of mine is referrals. Once I have a client, then they refer me out to family, friends. That's been huge for me, the repeat. It seemed like I was in one development for a year because I kept going from neighbor to neighbor to neighbor. And that was even before the van. Now with the van, people are more apt to ask the neighbor if they haven't talked to them before, hey, what are you doing? What's going on? But yeah, it's the referral, and not, you always want to be in front of your market. So what do I mean by that? You don't want to lose presence. If you have a Facebook page, an Instagram, a Pinterest, your website, always make sure that you're putting something out there and keep it going. You don't want to stop being in front of that potential market so that you can grow it. During COVID, when we were shut down, I grew my Facebook. I probably got 100 new likes during that. And getting likes for my page has always been baby steps. Like I'm not at 1,000 yet, but hopefully soon I will be. But and it was just being creative and thinking, well, I don't have anything to post. What do you post? And I really did get creative. When I was shut down, we got into my mother's old recipes and found one called a wacky cake. I forgot all about it. And it's an old recipe from, I guess, during wartime when they had rations of the sugar and whatnot. And so my daughter and I made it, and we posted this on Facebook, and it just, it exploded. We reused the recipe that Mom had written, and we framed it, and now it's hanging in the kitchen. So it was like a little treasure.
Well, one of the things that, we always make sure that we find in this podcast is what we call the nugget alert. And I think we've probably had 2 or 3 nugget alerts that you've shared with us already. And I want to go back to the one that, and I guess it would be your mission statement or your slogan. So could you repeat that again?
Rethinking how you use what you already have.
See, that's really brilliant, because again, that's a vision and mission statement as about as clear as you could probably make one, and it really tells what your business is all about just in that one statement. So, that's fantastic. And I know we're up against a break, but the other two was, again, that networking. In many of our podcasts, we talk about networking and mentoring and finding people, to surround yourself with. So, your grow group, something that we really encourage our small business owners to make sure they're around those kind of people, because, that's so pivotal. But I think the nugget alert is being in front of the market all the time.
Nugget alert, nugget alert, nugget alert.
Nugget alert. Yep. Getting in front of that and just not letting things get dated on you.
Right.
And that's where I think a lot of people make a mistake with their social media and their website. So when we come back from break, I got another question on that.
All right, everybody, we're going to go ahead and just take a minute to hear from our sponsor.
Dempsey Weiss & Associates is a multi-line insurance agency successfully meeting the insurance and financial needs of the landscaping, business contractor, and agricultural community in southern New Jersey and southeastern Pennsylvania since 1989. To learn more, visit us at www.dempseyweiss.com. J Faith Hair Studio, centrally located in southern New Jersey. J Faith Hair Studio is the place to go to become the best version of yourself. Confidence in your appearance is always important, and a great hairstyle is an absolute necessity. Visit jfaithhairstudio.com to book your appointment today.
Welcome back. We want to say thank you to our sponsors for our podcast. And Jack, we're going to throw it right back over to you because I can see you itching for your next question. Itching.
So I think one of the challenges, especially for businesses like yours, businesses like all of ours, really, Jennifer's, where you're very hands-on. Obviously, Jennifer's business is, her business is doing extremely well. But in order for her business to do extremely well, she has to be behind the chair doing hair. And Staci, we need to be in front of our clients. We need to be in front of new people in order for our business to continue to grow. But then there's the business side of things, so how do you balance that? How do you balance being hands-on, paintbrush in your hand, air gun in your hand, all these things that you need to do, but then take care of the business side of it? How do you balance that?
So that's a great question. I live and breathe and eat my job. I was told I wear too many hats. So when you start your own business, you find that you're wearing every single hat of the business. You are the creative, you are the bookkeeper, you are, the marketer, you're doing everything. And I didn't really realize that I had so much on me until one of my clients, I'm working with them, and they also have their own business. And they were really interested in what I was doing and kept asking a lot of questions. And in this conversation, he kept saying, have you ever read the book, The E-Myth Revisited? And I'm like, no. And he's like, well, you really should read it. It's about this small entrepreneur and how she got started. And I think it really pertains to you. You should read it. And the conversation kind of took a twist. And, throughout this whole day that I was working on this project, he must have told me 5 or 6 times to read this book. And I'm like, all right, this is a sign. I really need to remember this book. Well, it was several weeks after that, and I was like, oh my gosh, what was that book? Finally got it on Audible because I'm not a book reader. I got enough to do. I can't sit down and take time to read a book, but I can certainly put my headphones on and listen. And as I was listening to this E-Myth book, one thing that really stood out in it was they said, do you have a business or do you have a job? And I looked at it, and what that meant was, is this something that will sustain itself without you being in it? I'm like, well, no one knows how to do what I do. So I had a job, and I'm like, oh my gosh. And I felt like I just was sick to my stomach. Like here, all these, few years, I thought I had a company, a business, but really I had a job. But after, finishing the book, it kind of put in place of what are you good at? What is your strong suit? And I pulled those things out, realizing that I'm not a bookkeeper because my paperwork would pile up and I would do it once a month. I hate paperwork. Don't put me behind that. So I hired a bookkeeper, and that was like, whew, this is great. I have more time to do something else. Then hiring my employees. I now have 4 employees. I'm beside myself. I have a project coordinator. She's my right-hand man. I can leave her on a job site and she's able to handle it. She can call clients. She knows the business inside and out. And we started documenting each job and what they do so that if I do step away, they still can run it. And that was so important for having a business, is that each person knows what they're to do in the business and how it's run. Yeah, I'm still my contractor. I don't think I'll ever give that up. I have given up the paintbrush a little bit here and there, but still get to dabble in it. Even with marketing, like I'm my own marketing person, and I'm finding that I needed to reach out to other sources for marketing. I just got new t-shirts. So I went to one of the printers that are in part of the chamber, and had them redesign my shirts and print them up. My big sign behind me, Goddard Printing, did my business cards. So just being able to delegate some of that other stuff out and allowing other businesses to help do those things that I wasn't able to do just right. That's what their specialty is, not mine. So yeah, if I was to say anything to another business owner starting up, make sure you're not wearing all the hats because it's overwhelming. You'll lose sleep. Find your strong suit and do well in that, and let others, your bookkeeper is going to be strong in what they're doing. Let them do that. Don't be afraid. It's all good.
Well, that's good because, again, I think that's certainly one of the things that we talk about is, as you transition from that startup business, there is that initial period where you really do need to wear all the hats, but as time goes on, having the plan in place to say, okay, what are the next steps of starting to transition some of these things away? And like you did, some of it is, let me find other people that do this stuff for their business and just hire them to do it. And then so at what point, when was it that book that kind of made you decide I need to start hiring people and training them? Was that really kind of that pivot point for you to say, I need to bring employees on?
I knew I needed to bring in painters because I was getting more and more work, and then we were booking 4 months out, not being able to take any new clients. And I work with a lot of real estate agents, and they want to flip a home pretty quick. And when you're not able to do that, then you're missing that opportunity. So I knew I needed more help there. So was the book really opened my eyes to the business side of it, which I never really was strong in. So yeah, I think that was a big open my eyes. Hello, you need to fix this. But then, through COVID, something else happened. We were all shut down. I had to lay off my employees. But during that, the Chamber of Commerce really helped keep me in the now. They helped with, what was going on as far as SBA loans, the grants, and all of that. And they encouraged me to go ahead and apply for these things, even if I didn't use them. So I applied for the SBA loan, and lo and behold, I got it. I couldn't believe it. I couldn't get a regular business loan before because I didn't really have enough collateral to get what I needed. And through that, it's been a blessing that they gave me enough for that little bit of a hand up to be able to hire 2 more employees, which I needed, and to have a little bit of money in the bank to grow that. I'm thrilled. So COVID was a good thing for me. Bad that I had to, let the employees go out, but they did all right, and we're all back and up and running now.
Daphne, I'm loving your story right now. A lot I can relate to. And it's funny when you said, we're booked 4 months out. Something in the hair industry we always talk about is if you're so booked out that you can't take new clients, then you're not charging enough. So that as soon as you said that, I'm like, yep, that's happened. And that can be a scary moment. Like, you want me to charge $60 for a haircut? Yes,
right.
You do. And that just opens up more opportunities. So my question is, when you started to bring on new employees, how did you go about finding new talent?
Oh my goodness. So many different ways. I tried Facebook job search, and I got Miranda through that. And then I tried Indeed. But this last time, I simply put out an email to all my clients, and then I shared it on Facebook of what I was looking for. And I said, if you're interested, send me your resume and cover letter. And I did. I got several applicants. I knew that they were really interested at that point. They didn't want just a job. I don't want that anymore. The people that I hire, I really want them to grow with me. They represent me. It's my name on the company. And that was something that was really hard letting go of. My name is on the company. I have to touch every single thing. I had to let some of that go. And now they represent me. They wear these awesome t-shirts and they love what they do just as much as me. So,
well, and I agree. Most of the time as an entrepreneur, you're probably a control freak. So I can totally relate. Like, I need to touch everything. It's all about me. But once you let some of that go, it is a beautiful thing.
You know, passion is so important, you know, and loving what you do. And I remember when Daphne first came, I don't know, it was the first time I was there that you came to the house. And I'm talking, you know, we're talking and I'm like, how come I feel like she's not really listening completely to what I'm saying? And at first I'm thinking, wait a minute, she's listening, but while she's listening to me, she's already transforming my kitchen in her mind, you know, and that's, you know, it took me a couple minutes to figure that out, but she was listening. But while that was going on, you just saw the wheels churning of what she could do, you know, with our kitchen. And so, you know, there's just, so that's kind of the artist side of you, I would guess, right? I mean, you just see things that other people don't see.
right. You know, when you live in a space day in and day out, you stop seeing it. Just like your favorite, like a picture that hangs in your entryway. Can you picture that picture in your entryway? Do you really see everything that's in it? Or you're like, oh yeah, that's what it looks like. You know, because we just stop seeing it. So bringing a fresh eyes into your space allows a different look at things.
You know, there's a book out there, shared a little bit on this podcast and here our team on Giftology is the name of the book. And what that book talks about is when you're in business, if you give away things to your clients that have your brand on it, it's really not a gift, it's advertising, right? But, you know, business people think, well, let me give you this gift that has my logo on. But what Daphne did was did you know that book existed, Giftology?
No.
All right. So, you know, we were away when she did our kitchen because, you know, that was the best thing for us to be away while she transformed our kitchen cabinetry. So when we got home, of course, that's all my wife could think about was she couldn't wait to walk through the door. And she's right. The first thing I heard while I was unloading the back of the car was, oh my, look, oh my. You know, just, it's too bad you weren't there because you would have really enjoyed that, Daphne. But here's what the neat thing was. There was 2 wine glasses sitting on the countertop, you know, with our initials on. So that's Giftology. See, now every time, you know, too bad I don't drink wine, but my wife does. So every time she drinks wine, you know, I think of Designs by Daphne.
Well, Jack, what we did after Miranda went back up to do the table, she brought the Dempsey sign.
Yes.
We make them out of old kitchen doors. So we repurpose those and give them back.
So, right. So that was the second gift. She took a cabinet door and made them and put our name on that. And guess where that's sitting? In our eat-in area. I'm seeing it every single day.
Oh, excellent. Thank you.
So the point is that the brilliance behind that is, again, it gives your client a sense of appreciation, but it also just keeps your brand out there. Because every time I walk by it, you know, I'm thinking of, you know, you and your business, and it's always keeping everything fresh. And so that was great. And I think, again, that's a great way to, again, just connect with people and have them. That's why you get referrals, quite frankly, right? Because, you know, if it ever comes up in conversation, your business, you and your business is never far from our minds because of those true gifts. That's what they are. Those are true gifts because they have my name on it. They have our initials on it, you know, not your name of your business.
But I started that not even, you know, seeing it your way. In my way, I was just giving back to you in appreciation for having us be able to come in and do that work for you. You know, if I didn't have clients like you, I wouldn't be in business. So I am so grateful every single day that, you're out there and you do refer me, and it's so special. It's wonderful.
That's great. Good stuff. Good stuff. Well, I know that we need to start wrapping this up just a little bit, but Daphne, we have one final question for you. And that would be, what would be one piece of advice that you could give to someone that is getting ready to, or thinking about starting a business from a passion that they have?
Listen to your gut. Don't really listen to everybody's opinions. Everybody's going to be opinionated about what you're doing. If you're passionate about it and you love it and you know in your gut it's the right thing to do, just go for it. If I listened to every single person, like, what? You're ridiculous. What are you doing? I never would have gone for it. I think it's really, really important, listen to your gut. It's usually not wrong in any instance, really.
Wow, that's amazing. And you know what's so interesting that you say that is that the last guest that we had, Jack shaking his head, Misty Solomon was our last guest, and her piece of advice was exactly what you just said, was don't listen to the noise, do what you want to do. And if you know Misty, she's full of passion about her business. She has a dessert business. She's, so very, very similar to everything that you've said today. But that piece of advice is exactly what she said. So it must ring true. Listen to your gut. Don't listen to the noise. Don't listen to other people.
Definitely. And always find the positive in that negative. You're going to have people try to break you down and make a negative. But then listen to them and say, you know what? What's a positive in that? The positive is they're making me look at it in a different way.
Nugget alert.
Nugget alert. Nugget alert. That's great.
The other thing too, Staci, that's very similar, and I think would be good for our listeners, and this was the same in Misty's situation and Daphne's, is they both started their business, kind of almost, as you guys would call it, as a side hustle. It was a side business, that, they didn't have all their eggs in that basket, initially. So they got to really test the water. So I think if there's a way to do that as a new business and as an entrepreneur, then I think that's very helpful, because it starts to get to see what it does take. Because again, there's a lot of people who can have a lot of passion about what they're doing, but when they start to try and do it as a business, it can just drain that passion from them. So they've got it. I think that's the test, is, understanding that, the passion and the business side of the passion are two different things. And so starting a little smaller, testing the water is maybe a good way to approach that. Because that's what Daphne did. And I remember that was Misty's story too. So,
well, I used to paint walls. I did a little bit of everything, and I realized that being a wall painter was not for me. So I got rid of that one long ago. So yeah, testing it, see what works. That's really important. And then when you find what does, embrace that and put your all into it.
Well, Daphne, thank you for coming and being a part of our podcast. We greatly appreciate your time, and everything you said was just phenomenal, really, honestly. So thank you again. Jack, good job. Good job.
Thank you.
Yes. Okay. Good job, Jack. But before we go, Daphne, tell us where we can find your website, your Facebook. How can we connect with you? How can our listeners connect with you?
So the easiest way is go to my website. It's designbydaphne.com. And then if you go to the About Us page, you'll find all of our affiliations and our connections. You can find us on Facebook, Design by Daphne LLC. Same with Instagram, the same. So I'm all over the place. I'm even on Pinterest. Don't update that as much, but it's still there. Facebook is probably our biggest one. You'll see what we're doing week to week. We're starting to put out more videos, and it's a good place to see what we're doing.
Awesome. Very good. Well, thank you again. And thank you to our listeners for tuning in to the Business of Business podcast, Two Daughters and Their Dad. And so until we are back together again, we'll talk to you guys later. Bye.
We want to thank you for listening today. Please subscribe so you never miss an episode. Leave us a positive review. And we want to say thank you to our sponsors, Dempsey Weiss and Associates and J. Faith Hair Studio.